What if I told you that your constant exhaustion doesn't come from what you do, but from everything you decide not to do? Sounds crazy, right? We live believing the lie that putting it off is a way to save energy. But the truth is, for every postponed task, your brain pays a hefty price. An invisible bill charged in focus, peace of mind, and mental energy. That's why you feel drained even after doing nothing at all. That story you tell yourself that you work better under pressure is the most expensive excuse you've ever bought. In this video, you will understand the real neurological cost behind this habit. It's not about laziness or a lack of discipline. It's about a constant leak of anxiety that your brain turns on every time you say, "I'll do it later." This silent leak is undermining your ability to concentrate and to feel pleasure in the simple things in life. But what if you could not only fix this leak but completely reset this debt? Stay with me, because today we're going to expose how your brain really works in this cycle. And I will show you the power of a single, first installment to turn the tables, reclaim your focus, and finally have real energy to live, not just to survive your pending tasks. Many people believe that by postponing a task, they are gaining time or freedom. Little do they know the mind doesn't have a forget button. That pending obligation becomes an invisible process, running in the background and consuming an absurd amount of mental energy. It's like having a demanding app on your phone that you're not even using, but it's draining the battery without mercy. This is the true face of procrastination, a silent thief of resources that prevents your focus from shining. It's crucial to understand what happens inside your brain in this game of postponement. When you avoid something stressful, it gives you a small reward, a little drop of momentary relief. In exchange for this candy, it keeps a faucet of cortisol, the stress hormone, constantly running. This is the so-called background anxiety, a low but chronic and relentless interest charge. That's why, at the end of the day, a person feels exhausted and depleted, even if they haven't done anything productive. Imagine your mind as a house. The task you postpone is a leak in the ceiling. A single drop doesn't seem like much, right? But that persistent leak, day and night, begins to rot the wood, grow mold on the walls, and by the time you notice, the structural damage is immense. This constant leak is procrastination undermining your mental energy and your focus. The most curious part is that, amidst this decay, many convince themselves that this pressure is somehow beneficial to their performance. Now let's face one of the biggest lies our brain tells us to justify procrastination: the idea that we work better under pressure. It's a seductive excuse, isn't it? But the raw truth is that nobody works better. They simply work with more panic. This supposed power is nothing more than the buildup of anxiety reaching such an unbearable level that the only way out is to act. It's not a superpower. It's an act of desperation. From a neurological standpoint, what is called focus under pressure is actually a flood of adrenaline in your brain. This hormone is a survival specialist. It shuts down your critical and creative thinking to activate fight or flight mode. You might get the task done, but the result is almost always superficial, full of errors, and worst of all, without any real learning. It's the equivalent of trying to solve a complex puzzle while a fire alarm is blaring in your ear. The best analogy for this is to think you run faster when a lion is chasing you. Yes, you run like you've never run before, but it's not a strategic or enjoyable run. It's pure panic. You don't choose the best path, you just flee to save your skin, depleting all your mental energy. And by justifying procrastination with this myth, a person gets used to living on the run, seeking refuge in small, instant pleasures to alleviate this tension. This avoidance behavior leads us directly to an even deeper problem: the dysregulation of our motivation system. Every time procrastination hits and a person runs to easy rewards, like scrolling through a social media feed or watching another short video, they are actually messing up their own brain chemistry. They teach themselves in small doses that pleasure comes before effort, a logic that goes against our very nature and drains mental energy from what truly matters. It is crucial to understand that our brain was designed to release dopamine, the reward neurotransmitter, after a significant effort. It's the prize for having hunted, built, or solved a problem. By seeking this dopamine fast food first, you invert the equation. The task that already required focus and discipline begins to seem 10 times more boring and uninteresting, as the reward for completing it seems pale compared to the immediate, effortless pleasure your phone offers. The perfect analogy is eating a tub of ice cream before lunch. When it's time to face a plate of real food, your palate is completely ruined, and the nutritious meal seems bland. Procrastination does exactly this to our motivation, and the anxiety of having to do the task only grows. And so, trapped in this vicious cycle of cheap rewards, the question remains, how do you get out of this hole and start paying off this debt? So, after understanding the cost of procrastination and anxiety, how do we stop paying this invisible interest and start paying off the debt? The answer is counterintuitive and goes against everything we've been taught about willpower. The secret isn't to think about finishing the task, it's to stop looking at the size of the mountain and shift your focus to the smallest possible first step. We don't need motivation to act. We need action to generate motivation. This small, logical reversal is what reboots our brain. Instead of waiting for a wave of inspiration that may never come, you concentrate on an action so small, it's almost ridiculous not to do it. Write a single sentence, tie your running shoes, open the software on your computer. This micro-action breaks the paralyzing cycle of procrastination and sends a powerful signal back to your system. Hey, we've started. It wasn't so bad. Think of your pending task as a $10,000 debt. It's a scary and paralyzing amount. But what if your only goal today is to pay $1? Just $1. It's easy, almost insignificant. The moment you pay that $1, your brain gives you a small dopamine receipt for having completed a goal. You prove to yourself that the monster wasn't so scary. And suddenly, paying another $1 tomorrow doesn't seem so impossible. This is the beginning of the turnaround. Now you know. The exhaustion, the irritation, the lack of focus, they are not character flaws. They are neurological, symptoms of a bill your brain is paying every time you say, "I'll do it later." But now you also have the receipt to start paying off this debt. The power of the first installment. Remember, the journey doesn't start with a giant wave of motivation, but with an action so small it's impossible to procrastinate on. So I ask you directly, how long will you continue to pay interest on this debt of anxiety? Look at your life right now. What is your $10,000 project that's haunting you? And more, importantly, what is the one you can pay as soon as this video ends? Are you going to close this tab and go back to the dopamine fast food? Or are you going to choose your micro-action and take the first step to reclaim control? The decision to turn this game around is yours, and it starts now. If this content brought you clarity, and you are determined to learn more strategies to master your brain instead of being mastered by it, do yourself a favor. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss the next step on the journey to building a procrastination-proof mind and a life with more energy and purpose. The time is now.